Hello YouTube. I discovered this just the other day and I really wanted to jump on and make a video about it because it was such a revelation to me. So first of all I'm going to show you how I used to do it and what I discovered and how it's going to be 10 times better. So this is some old artwork I've dug out just because it's got something which is very good for showing you what my original problem was. And so let's have a look at this. Right, so the original way I would do it is with one of these. I'd use area scaling and a reference layer, which in this case is the main ink, which is on a vector layer. Now, what I'm going to show you later relies on your ink being on a vector layer rather than a raster layer. So, I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't do this, but just in case you're wondering, this is something you really need to do to make the next bit work. So let's go back to how I used to do it. So, click, and what you can see is you get all these bits where it doesn't quite fill into the narrow edges, and I can accentuate this by showing you this with the pink on. There you go, you can see all these edges. So what I used to do was I would go in, get my brush here, and I would copy the colour, and I would just have to manually paint in all these corners like this. And it may not look too time consuming on this, but when you've got a whole set of flats to do for a whole piece, it takes a long time. So I'm just going to undo that so we can see the contrast with what I'm about to do. So I was playing around the other day, and what I discovered was this. So let's go back here. So I've renamed this setup the way I want it now, and it's this here: include vector path and fill up to vector path. And if you look in the tool settings, they are in here in reference, fill up to vector path and include vector path. Now I'll show you what this does. If I use orange this time on this layer, if we do it again. Now, what you can't see is that all these lines, they have a vector line in the middle of them. If I select this and select, can you see? So now, instead of it filling up to the edge and then 2 pixels more, which is what it was doing before, now it's filling up to this line. It hasn't quite done it in there, and I'm not entirely sure what the reason for that is. That's because I think this line doesn't join to that line. Yeah, there's a separate line there. So what you can see is it's joined to there and to there. So you've got to be a bit careful. It's not going to work perfectly every time, but it's going to work a ton better than it used to. You can see all around here, it's working way better. It's going to go into every single corner, and it's working pretty perfectly. Now, there is a weird dot here, and I don't know, I have no idea why it hasn't selected that, but I guess it's not, it's because this tapers back on itself. It's an odd little cut. I've obviously flicked the pen back as I've been drawing, so yeah, you can see that it has some, you know, it's never going to be as perfect as doing it by hand, you know, by using the marquee tool, but it's so much faster than how I was doing it before. It does rely to a certain degree, like everything else of these flood fills, of having a full path, of not having any gaps. You can use it with gaps, but it doesn't work nearly as well. You're always going to have to go in and have a little bit of cleanup, but I think with this method and a little bit of cleanup, it's still going to be significantly faster than doing it by hand. The other real benefit of this is that you will never get gaps where the artwork was. So let me see if I can show you this here. If I turn that off and I turn this layer back on, so you can see there's the difference. So you see it's leaving all the holes where the ink was. It's never butting up nicely. And if we turn the old colour off again and turn the ink back on, and it also means that if we fill in here, let's just use the purple. Okay, I know that hasn't gone in there. That's because I've got close gaps set too high. If we did a little tap, it'll go in there. Okay, and there's obviously gaps here, which is why it's flooded into there. We're not going to worry about that for the moment. I just wanted to show you this. Okay, again, it's not 100% perfect, but it's making those knit really nicely together. You can see if I turn that up a little bit, you can see that it's a really nice straight line down the middle. And what that means is, if I turn this back up, what that means is it really helps when you've got a brush with a bit of noise in it. Oh, we leave it purple, it'll be fine. And a bit of just bear with my shapes here. So you can see this has a see-through element to it. It's transparent in places and it has holes to create this texture. If we go back down here, go back to the orange, now you can see what it nicely does is it fills everything, even those holes, right up to the middle, right through here. And it also means that if let's go back to my brush, let's do a ring around that. Oh, wrong layer. This has to be in the ink layer, or it will not work. Let's go back to that. Let's change this colour to yellow and go bang. Now you'll see that it has a nice line up in the middle and it's honouring all of the colour changes like that. So there you go, there you have it. That's what I learned. It's going to save me an absolute ton of time, and I think it might save you time too. So I hope that's helpful. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.